blank faces. I'm seeing some blank faces, so I'm thinking you either. Most people, we're all striving for some upward mobility through education and training. Did you know that Wagner Pizer Employment Services and VR together spent $4 billion in 1 year just on training for career ed? $4 billion. So the question of Congress and taxpayers is, what are we spending $4 billion on? And what's our results in the end? Tracking measurable skills gains and credentials gives people an understanding all the way around of where those training dollars, that $4 billion, is being spent. So in VR, why are measurable skills gains and credentials important? If you're with our agency, you know our mission statement is to prepare Arkansans with disabilities to work and live independent and productive lives. We want to empower people with disabilities to maximize employment, right? So are we fulfilling our purpose? That is the whole point of tracking MSGs and credentials. We put out a report once a year. It's called the 9169, and it takes the VR agency through each quarter of the program year. So we just did program year 19. It ended on June 30th. And each quarter, we're looking at who got trained, what did they get trained in, and what kind of documentation do we have that supports that training on the way. The way you can look at an MSG, it's just the benchmarks on the way to get a credential. So according to the American Progress Organization, there are tons of low-wage, low-quality jobs available in the United States. So all we've done so far is increase our wealth gap. The average income gap between the richest and the lowest income households is at a 50-year high. As a result, for the first time in U.S. history, the current generation of students is not expected to earn more than their parents. That's really saying a lot. We have a shortage of workers that's even pushing some wages in skilled trade areas high. These are jobs that don't require college degrees, but they do require some training after high school. There are 30 million of these jobs that pay an average of $55,000 a year, but they don't require a bachelor's degree. Yet the number of career technical education programs that train students for these types of jobs, there aren't enough to reach throughout the entire United States. So we still have a gap here in credential earnings in jobs that we actually need. So we are pointing our barometer in ARS, adult education, blind services, DWS, to making sure that we are pushing people in the direction of credentials that actually will get them a job. That $4 billion that we spent last year between DWS programs and VR, what Congress and the rest of the taxpayers in the United States wants to see is that we're filling that 30 million American jobs with jobs that earn credentials and jobs that are really out there in the workforce. Let's see. I've got a little video I'd like to show you. Let's see if I can get this opened. It was giving me fits earlier. Let's see.
I wonder if you just highlight my YouTube link. Or
yeah.
I'll try it.
Try to get my video. There we go. It just takes a minute.
U.S. high school students earn hundreds of thousands of credentials each year as part of state career and technical education programs. Yet little is known about how effective they are at preparing high school students for a future career and long-term success. To provide new insights into the alignment between the credentials students earn and the demand for those credentials in the workforce, ExcelinEd and Burning Glass Technologies partnered on a new research project, Credentials Matter. This ongoing comprehensive research project combines ExcelinEd's policy expertise in college and career pathways with Burning Glass's cutting-edge labor market analytics. The research seeks to answer, first, how many states are collecting data on student credential attainment and what data collection methods are they using? Next, which credentials are being earned by students? Then, what is the employer demand for credentials? And finally, how do the credentials earned align with employer demand? The research resulted in a comprehensive report and interactive website detailing the most extensive collection and analysis of supply, demand, and alignment of industry-recognized credentials in states to date. The research found, 1, just over half of all states collect quantitative data on the attainment of credentials. 2, states do not have consistent definitions for what constitutes an industry-recognized credential. 3, many credentials are not explicitly requested in employer job listings, despite the fact that the credentials may be required or desired for the position. 4, of the 24 states where data were available and analyzed, no state is highly aligned. What can be done to improve this? All stakeholders must play a role to ensure these credentials align with real-world employer demand. These stakeholders include state agencies, policymakers, educators, administrators, students, families, employers, businesses, industry, and credentialing entities. There are 3 actions.
Okay, looks like I lost my video there for a second. I hope everyone got a chance to see what they had so far. I'm not going to try to restart it because it'll go back to the very beginning. So basically what we have here is an organization called Burning Glass and Excel in Education, and they have collected data throughout the whole United States on what credentials students have earned in high school. And also there are 4 states that they've collected data on for credentials that are post-secondary. Arkansas was one of them. The others were Utah, Colorado, and Florida. So why are MSGs and credentials important? I think we made the case that we want everyone to maximize their employment. So through what Burning Glass and Excel in Education have done, they've created a mechanism that's quick and easy to see how we can do that. So taking it to the next step. Let's take a look at some of the information they found on post-secondary for Arkansas. So this is 2018-2019 data from this group. It's showing us that from the data that they collected, the total number of credentials earned for our state was 4,357. And when I looked at Utah and Colorado, we were right on par, which kind of made me feel good because those states have a lot more dollars, state and federal, than we do. The percentage of credentials earned that were in in-demand industries shot up all the way to 59%, which was better than the other 2 states that I'm comparing us to. Florida has so much more population and state and federal funding that I don't really feel like that was a good comparison for Arkansas. These are the top career clusters for students that are in progress, still trying to get those measurable skills gains. We're looking at health sciences, business management and administration, manufacturing jobs, law, public safety, corrections and security, and education and training. Now, this is not to say that this is where all of the jobs are. This is to say this is where students are being trained the most. Let's look at, okay, we'll look at where the jobs are in just a minute. But what I want to show you first is what it looks like for Arkansas Rehab Services. When we're talking about measurable skills gains, we're talking about 5 different ways that you can get that. So 5 different ways that you can work towards credentials that can help your students or your participants or your clients actually work towards earning a credential. The first way to do that is through test. Most of these tests are with adult basic ed. We call it gaining an educational functioning level, and that's a pre and a post test that they do. This form, what I'm showing you right here, is exactly what we have to do. Just put in a date. What did they get? And there's a little summary and explanation of what this means. I'll go into more detail in just a minute about those 3 different kinds of tests that adult ed gives. Secondary report cards is another way to gain a measurable skill gain. We do that through high school report cards and passing grades for at least 1 semester. Post-secondary transcript is a college transcript for 12 hours, or 12 hours can be earned in 2 semesters. Training, and what we mean by training, MSG is very specific. It's satisfactory progress towards milestones, like on-the-job training or at least 1 year of an apprenticeship program. The last thing is for earning an MSG that leads towards credentials is skills progression, and that's just passing a test. I've got some links on here that show you different types of tests that could count towards an MSG. When we report for VR, it doesn't matter if they've got 1 or all 5 of these, we're supposed to report them. However, we only get credit for 1 in the time frame. This is reported every 3 months on a quarterly basis. So adult basic education, I showed y'all that first. There are 3 different tests that they do that can earn an MSG. And it's really important to note that what we're moving towards is sharing information, sharing the gains on measurable skills, sharing the gains on credentials. So if a student is with adult basic ed and they also have a disability, they pass any one of these tests, the TABE, the BESS, or the CASAS, and they're with adult ed, they're with VR. VR gets that measurable skills gain right alongside adult ed getting that measurable skills gain. I think that's important to note. There's a link here that gives you more information about these 3 different tests that they give. I know at one time when we had ACTI, the Arkansas Career Training Institute, we were given TABE test ourselves. At this point, we're not ramped up to do that, but we could. There's also always the option of connecting to adult ed and making sure that our clients know, or participants know, that they can take those tests through there. I think adult ed's been working towards achieving measurable skills gains for decades. The main way is through these tests. They have to move 1 level up, and if they do, then that's the criteria. You put in the date for if you're a VR counselor, the date that they earn that 1 level up on one of these 3 tests, and voila, you have an MSG. But if you are a VR client, you also have to be moving towards education and training to get a job. We don't just want to connect with every person that goes through adult basic ed that are taking these tests if employment in the near future isn't the goal, because that won't serve our VR purpose, right? Because we have other criteria that we need to meet, like helping them get a job and retaining it. Here are this is test benchmarks from the National Reporting System for Adult Education. This darker gray part at the top where it says beginning adult basic ed literacy, that tells you where the scores are, the scale scores, and what scores you need to make to actually earn one educational functioning level up. So to get to level 2, I think this is more along the lines of what adult ed could be able to assist us with, but just for your information, we throw out terms like increasing one educational functioning level. What exactly does that mean? This is what it means. These are the scores that they have to receive to be considered in one group or moving to the next group. There's no strict timelines for taking a pre and post test to see if a student does earn one functioning level up. That's kind of based on where the student is and when they're ready. And of course, you guys, this is best for clients. You already know this, but I'm just going to reiterate it. If they haven't completed high school or if they have English as a second language, these courses would be best for them. All right, this is our VR's main measurable skill gain right here. It's a transcript or a report card. It could be a high school transcript or a college transcript, reports on what the student has earned. Remember earlier I said 12 hours in the semester or at least 12 hours within the full year. That's what you'd be looking at on any record. It could be the transcript, it could be the grade report, but we're moving in the direction of getting that credential. So what was ARS's share of the $4 billion dedicated to training last year? Anybody want to take a stab at that? Just a guess. Anybody? I'll just wait a second and see if somebody puts it in the chat. Just if in 1 year, 40 million, ARS's share, 500,000, someone else wrote. Yeah, I mean, those are really good guesses. Last year, Arkansas Rehab Services spent $9 million on training, but that's all the different types of training that we do. 4-year, 2-year, other types of post-secondary training. That's a lot of money spent on transcripts and colleges leading towards an MSG. So we want to make sure that as we're moving in that direction, when they finally graduate and get that credential in hand, a job can be connected directly to that. So one way that we can tell if they're moving in the right direction is by looking at skills progression. Skills progression is one of the 5 measurable skills gain types, and that's just simply passing an exam, passing a required exam. You have to document that that there has been an exam that happened that is going to lead towards a credential later on, and it could be anything from a CNA to the CRCC exam, the NCLEX, a CDL. It doesn't always have to be an exam for a license or a credential that is tied to a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. It could be other types of occupations that are absolutely necessary to do the job. And the exam is absolutely necessary to do the job. And on a few slides, I'm going to show you some resources to determine what types of exams are connected to different credentials and licenses. Our last type of measurable skills gain is apprenticeships or on-the-job training. We have a copy of a progress report from an employer or a training provider that including that the participant has acquired a new skill or achieved some steps to completion, that can count as an MSG. There are several different apprenticeship programs in the state of Arkansas. With our own agency under the umbrella of the Arkansas Career Development Center, we have a couple of apprenticeship programs that we offer and OJT type settings. We have CNA, welding, some construction trades like HVAC and carpentry, cabinet making, electrical and plumbing. So all those different types of jobs would count under this MSG. If we can show progress reports that lead to some achievement of a skill or document an increase in performance, that can also count. If the student is in a registered apprenticeship, they have to be in it at least for a year in order to be able to count it as an MSG. So at the bottom is a link to different apprenticeship programs in the state of Arkansas. And when I went to it, I thought it was pretty interesting because the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville is in the apprenticeship game, and they have a lot of new ones that are coming out, and they're dealing with computers, they're dealing with security, technology, and a lot of those are offered over the internet. So your students can do virtual learning in an apprenticeship program connected to the University of Arkansas. So check out that link. It gives you a wide variety in addition to what Arkansas Career Development Center can do in this area. Just thought that was kind of neat. So if we've gone through, we've completed all of our training, gotten a measurable skills gain in one of those 5 different areas that we just talked about, then what's next? Next would be actually receiving your credential. So there's different types of credentials. You can get an industry recognized certificate or certification, which is really what I want to focus in on, because I think it's the area that we've done the least and probably has the most potential if we believe the research that shows there are 30 million jobs that are going unfilled that can make $55,000 a year or more. Where are those jobs? What do they look like in Arkansas, and how do we connect to that? Because it's quicker than going to college for 5 years to make the same amount of money. As long as the participant is interested and really wants to do those jobs. You can also get a license that's recognized by the state or the federal government, and we have a link to DWS licensures and credentials, or at least I'll show you what that looks like and give you the website. I've got this bolded: apprenticeship and career technical diplomas. Man, if we could do more of that and understand what the offerings are there and exactly how much students could earn once they leave there and how to access that, I think our $4 billion throughout the country would be well spent. Here are a couple of examples of different types of jobs that earn credentials, anything from a registered nurse to an LPC and all points in between. So I do want to point out that high school diplomas and GEDs, you can get an MSG and a credential. You know, you're moving towards high school diploma and GED for an MSG, you receive it, that's your credential. And that would be the same thing with any other degree that you may receive, associate's, bachelor's, master's, doctorate. All right. This is the slide that I thought I was going to show you guys earlier. I didn't realize it was way to the back of my presentation. This is from Burning Glass and Excel in Education when they pulled our post-secondary credentials. It's showing us the top credentials by demand. So the demand of the state of Arkansas, not the demand of people and what they want to do, but what jobs are actually out there in the industry, in our workforce. So I can't see the chat for some reason. Let me see. See if I can look at folks. Okay. I'm wondering if this surprises anybody to see registered nurse at the top. It really doesn't surprise me. But I was a little bit surprised to see that we had such a low demand for pharmacy techs, comparatively speaking. 25,896 for nurses, but pharmacy techs, we've gone down to 713. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of certified medical assistant. That terminology doesn't exactly say CNA, but I do think that that's built into there. So yeah, I am surprised to see that CNA isn't on there at all either. There's a couple of questions in the chat I want to make sure I'm addressing. Jennifer, when I say documentation of an exam, could that be a case note? Yes, I think a case note that has all the relevant information that shows what it was for, all of that. Because you know, at ARS we have some forms that we can fill out for post-exit that would just be capturing information that a client gives us. So to me, that's a very similar thing, just as long as we can verify what happened. So that good question. Thank you. All right. So
there was another question, but I don't know if you answered.
Did I miss it?
About how does a counselor get a test from adult ed? I didn't answer.
Oh, okay. I see it. Thank you. How does the counselor get the test from adult ed? So adult education gives test. So if we could, our job would be to make sure that we connect our clients to the right adult ed center. And I'll show you that in just a few minutes. We wouldn't take the test and give it to our students. What we would do would be to make sure that they're connected to adult ed so adult ed could administer it and give it. So we'd have to know where to go and who to go to, right? So we'll look at that.
I think what she meant was like, where do you get the test results? Or like the credential, the paper that says that they've passed that test.
I'm sorry, I'm just not unable to hear you. Say that again one more time.
Okay, I think she was meaning that where do they get the test results from adult ed? Like, how do we get it from them?
Right. I think we'd have to ask the client to get the test results and give it to us, unless we have a relationship with that adult ed and we have consent to receive it. But I think the easiest way would probably be to say, hey, client, you're connected to adult ed, give me your test results. Yeah, I think that might be the easier way. All right, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. So I want to just ask you guys from this list, if we have a demand for 25,896 nurses in the state of Arkansas, had a demand in 2018, 2019, how many do you think actual credentials in that area we actually obtained? out of the demand, how many credentials? 2,000. That's actually a really good guess. How about for CDL? About 3/4 of that. Okay. Anybody else on, let's go down to Microsoft Office Specialist. So that's like the apprenticeship programs that U of A is getting ready to roll out. That's very, very similar in nature. We need 16,401. How many did we get? Just a guess. About half. Let's take a look and see what Burning Glass said. Okay, here's some comparisons between what was in demand and what we actually earned. So the 2,000 guess on registered nursing was, you know, that's pretty close. We earned 1,170. The NCCER general credential, there was not a demand for that at all, but we did put 384 people into it. So to me, this is the kind of information that us tracking MSGs and credential attainments will help us to see where are we putting our dollars and how are those dollars actually affecting job outcomes. If we spent that much money on a credential that's not needed in the economy, my first question, which I'm sure yours would be, is why? And what else should we do in order to affect some real change? We did pretty good when it came to EMT and paramedic. We needed 357, we got 347. I was excited to see welding on this list. There was a demand for that. And we earned 339. This is one of the programs that ACDC does have, and it's a good program. And they take their time with folks to help them get that. CDLs, look at that demand there, 20,410. 20,410 and 251 people earned it. So what do you think's happening? Given where we are, where the state of Arkansas is, and all of our border states, where are our truck drivers coming from? Yeah, I think if we need that many truck drivers, then we've earned so few credentials in 18 and 19, it may be that our businesses, or thank you, Nathan, our businesses are getting truck drivers from Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Tennessee, border states, because our people aren't earning those credentials in order to fill the jobs. Anybody want to take a gander at approximately how many trucking companies we have in the state of Arkansas? Just throw it into the chat. 3, 4, 11, 15. We have over 400 trucking companies in this state. It is one of the largest employers, one of the largest in-demand occupations, as you can see from this graph. And I think we're feeding a lot of people and giving some good paying jobs to our neighbors that are able to fill that need. Here's our Microsoft specialist. I think U of A has the right idea. They're putting their concentration towards apprenticeship programs in this area. We've got 16,401 demand and 247 that were actually earned. Ms. Darlene is asking, is there a pharmacy tech program in Arkansas? I couldn't tell you right off the bat where, but I bet you we could find that out, Ms. Darlene. I'm sure that there are. If anyone has it, UAMS would definitely have it. Yeah. Yeah, over 400 trucking companies. That's pretty amazing. Now, that's not all big, huge companies, right? Some of that are smaller, local places, but just something to think about. I think this information is why we're tracking MSGs and credentials. We need to know, where are the jobs, and are we putting people in those jobs, and what kind of conversations could we have with our clients to maybe help them understand through guidance and counseling where there's actually a need and actually potential for them if they need to go to work. Just a little quick personal story. This number one up here with registered nurses. If you're with ARS, you've heard me talk about my husband before, because that was a tragedy, and it happened so fast. And then it was, now you're a VR client. What are you going to do? I didn't work for ARS at the time. And the first thing that we did was look and see who's got programs, where is there a demand, because you need to get trained, you need to get back to work, or we're going to lose everything. So that's where we went. And at the time, I was able to find out that President Obama had special programs for people that wanted to train in in-demand industries. He was actually giving them extra money, stipends, in order to do that. So just everything came together to help. And every day, ARS counselors, DSB counselors, this is what you're dealing with, because you know the people, you know their stories, you know that they can't wait 5 or 6 years to get a job. They need a job now, and they need to know where to go to get that. So just a little something for you guys. Here's that resource I talked about that gives you job descriptions, shows you exams, fees, what the requirements are. It even goes so far as to show you how many people have that job in the state of Arkansas. This is something I've shown ARS staff a number of times. I had updated the link. This is a 2019 version. I'm sure 2020 will be coming out soon. But just a wealth of information. It's a huge document. It's like 384 pages in it. And some of these jobs I had never even heard of. So if you're young and you're trying to figure out what I want to be, sometimes looking around and seeing what the options are, that's informed choice, right? Knowing what's available, knowing how much is available. This is a great resource for that, for people that are considering what credential they need to earn. I'm looking at the chat. Ms. Marcia, thank you. She let us know that Arkansas State University at BB has pharmacy tech training. And Ms. Tynesha, thank you. She said she believes there's one at Eastern College. So I think we can dig into that and find out where these programs are, especially the in-demand ones. So if I live in Little Rock, I don't want to go to Fayetteville for training because I got a family. I got to make ends meet now. So I need to know where I can get trained, where I live. Yes, this PowerPoint's going to be shared with everybody, so you can have the links, you can have the information, and a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is in the notes, so that you don't have to try to remember. You'll have the access to that. So here's my favorite slide. When we align filling those 30 million in-demand jobs with actual careers that are happening in our community colleges and in our training programs, for example, I looked at Pulaski Tech, what they have to offer in training and credentials, and each one of these pictures represents a program at Pulaski Tech that's earning people wages that are well above the minimum wage if they have the credential to do it. For example, the top left corner, everybody knows that's folks in the medical field, the healthcare field. If you're a CNA, you're earning, but you're not earning at the rate that an LPN and RN as you go up, surgery tech. There are several different programs at Arkansas community colleges that are categorized in the healthcare field that don't necessarily mean just those basic ones that we always talk about. It could be someone doing lab work, it could be radiology. I was amazed pulling up different community colleges and the programs that they offer. It's not the same throughout the state, and some of them, if you go back and look at DWS, this is wage earnings for the year, what the average is in certain industries, you get a really clear picture of what programs to steer people towards and which ones may not earn them quite as much money. We already touched on welding. That is some great financial prospects there, but as we saw, it was in the 300 range for the demand. So, but what if I live in Texarkana and I want to be a welder? So then we need to look at what's happening in Texas, and then all of a sudden the demand explodes. Or if I'm born and we're in Louisiana, that's also huge demand for welding. So where you are, your geographic location will also tell the tale, not just looking at what's available in Arkansas. I love the trucking industry. 74,000 positions according to DWS, 74,000 people actually working in trucking that live in the state of Arkansas. Can you imagine all those empty jobs that we haven't been able to fill? What kind of boost to the economy and to people's individual lives that can make? I think trucking is awesome. Culinary. If you move from just your basic, I'm a fast food line cook, those guys are making $10.84 an hour, according to DWS statistics. But if you get a credential in culinary in Arkansas, that can jump up to $50,000 a year. That doesn't even compare. And it's all the reason to try to get that credential. Did you know that Pulaski Tech has a World Chef recognition for quality and excellence? It is only the 5th such training program in the United States to earn that title, and it's the 63rd training program in the world to have it. So kudos, Pulaski Tech, you're doing some really good things. Okay, let's see. I also have aircraft mechanic on here. I thought that I was going to look that up and we were going to have thousands and thousands of jobs in that area. We do have a couple of hundred, and they make really good money in the 50s and 60s for the amount of training that they receive, the length of time, I should say. I'm sure their training is excellent. It doesn't take 5 years. That's my point. If you go to Oklahoma, they have thousands of job openings there. Texas has thousands. If your client happens to have connections in Kansas, there are currently over 8,000 job openings in aircraft mechanics in the state of Kansas. I didn't even realize they had that many people in Kansas, but and they earn $60,000 and more. I think what separates, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about ARS here. What separates ARS from other programs that talk about jobs and job markets and try to steer people is that you get to know your client, so you know where they have family ties, where things might be potential for them to go to, so that you can talk to them about, okay, there might not be a whole lot of job opportunities here, but if you're willing to move or you have family to be able to move, might want to look into this program. Not every organization that assists people with finding jobs goes in that deep into that level. So, awesome, SAUCE, ARS, and DSB. Okay. So what if your person isn't ready for college? Can't go to community college yet because they don't have a high school diploma, can't go to 4-year, they don't have a high school diploma. We can do the GED. The GED program in Arkansas is strong. Before you take the GED in Arkansas, you have to take and pass. It's called the official GED practice test or get ready. And there's adult education centers. There's 35 across the state and 70 that covers 75 counties. They do testing accommodations, and I got a link for you here just to get more information on how that works and what that's about. Ms. Marcia, this is what I thought you were talking about earlier. Where do I go to get this test? What's happening with it? Here's a map and the link to get to this map. If you click on any one of the counties in Arkansas, a little pop-up menu will show like what's showing for Conway Adult Ed, where, who, how to connect to them. So earlier when we talked about those 3 tests, the TABE, the BEST, and the CASAS, if they haven't gotten a high school diploma yet, connect here. Ask for those test results, and you can just get them started on their way. To me, that's like a first step.
I see. Does anyone else see your screen? I don't see it anywhere.
You can't see my screen?
I don't see it. Oh, neither can Dominique. Yeah, I was hoping it wasn't just me. I'm like,
I'm not seeing the screen.
You can't see my screen? Okay. I'm not sure why. I haven't done anything different. Okay, let me see. I will do this and this. Can you see it now?
No.
It's starting to show.
yep.
Okay.
Now you can.
Awesome. I might have accidentally popped something, hit something that I didn't realize I hit. Let me go back one then. Did you guys see this one? It's
No, we didn't see that.
this is about the Get Ready program. So Adult Ed does a really great job, right? They do pre-test with them. It's called GED Ready before they actually go in and take the test. Arkansas has one of the highest GED pass rates of any state. And I would venture to say this is one of the reasons why they prep them really well before they start. So if you have someone who needs a GED, doesn't have a high school diploma, this is the link to get there, to get more information so you can tell them where to go. And here's the map. So what I was saying earlier, if you click on any part of this map, a little box will show like this that lets you know who to contact, where, names. They update it pretty regularly. So excellent. I just picked Faulkner County because that's where I live, but every state, every county will have it. Every state is not mapped out like this. All right, let me go to the chat and see what we've missed. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go back up. Ms. Carla commented that even though the trucking industry has many employment opportunities, we need to work with our BERs to employ our clients once they get their CDLs. Most companies want at least 2 years experience over the road. She's absolutely right. They're pretty picky on what they want, and criminal backgrounds also play a role in it. Some they don't mind, others they do. Anything that has to do with alcohol, drugs is they typically have to wait longer before they can get a job. So that's a really good point, Ms. Carla. Brian Lassiter says we have a Career Tech Institute in Arcoma, Oklahoma. Byron, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
And Cassandra, corrected me. It's tri-state career
Trust.
tech. And it's just, I took my students when I was a special ed teacher over there, and they do have CDL programs. And it's one of the few ones we have around that really work, but it's in Oklahoma. So
Awesome. Well, sometimes we gotta work with our partner states, right? I'm glad y'all told me you couldn't see the screen because I was just going on and I couldn't see the chat. So
I was worried that I missed something and you closed it, and I'm like, So I was like messaging everybody. I was like, do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it?
Well, I'm at the end and I'm probably going to take every single minute. I just kind of wanted to summarize and maybe talk to you guys questions that you might have that you didn't put in the chat.
Chrissy, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a question. The adult education students or the students that you send from ARS, do you keep track of those as far as the testing that they do through adult ed, or is the adult ed tracking that?
So if we have a client that can benefit from adult education services, we will refer them there. We can have, dual case with them, but it would be our responsibility to make sure that we're asking the question, getting the right consents to get copies of those tests to come back. Because adult ed will actually administer everything, do everything, but they won't automatically give us access to that. We have to get the right consents and we have to ask for it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Ms. Sharon made an important observation that most careers, they want experience before employers will hire. That's why I think our ability and it's our opportunity with OJT and apprenticeship programs that provides the experience that a lot of employers are looking for. Granted, OJT is limited. Apprenticeship is limited in the offerings. If you go to my earlier slide, it'll have a link to the apprenticeship programs in the state of Arkansas, and it's all apprenticeship programs. So you can get an idea of what's available. Here it is. discoverarkansas.gov, which has a million things on it that's really useful to us in the field. You can see everything that's there. And that could give experience, the types of things that employers are looking for. I don't know that we have an apprenticeship program for truck driving, though. That might be a stretch, but there are others that it would work well for. All right. Cassandra's letting me know that we have 5 minutes. I want to summarize a little bit and talk to you some more. See maybe some things that I didn't cover that you were expecting or wanting to hear about. I just think that we have an opportunity to steer people in the direction of credentials that matter. So credentialsmatter.org is the Burning Glass and Excel in Education website that will give you information on all the states, including our own. I think it's pretty spectacular that we have post-secondary education on that site where other states do not. So Arkansas is a little ahead of the curve there. But just some real good information. And there are other sites that will give you similar information. But just to know where to go to find what you're looking for, that informed decision making, first you got to have the information, right? In order to be able to do that. The site is credentialsmatter.org. And it's in my PowerPoint. I'm sure that you guys have that. That's where that video came from, that kind of cut off before it finished. So the bottom line here, you guys, is that you can earn credentials not in so many other ways, in measurable skills gains in so many other ways than just going to college. There's 2-year schools, there's career tech programs at 2-year schools, diploma programs, credential programs. It is, the apprenticeship section is opening up. Our next step is going to be to dig in a little deeper with on-the-job training and what that could look like from a vocational rehabilitation perspective, and what our potential for growth is in that area. I know it's something that our agencies can offer, but how are we offering it? Who are we connected to? And what's our potential for growth? So that's future research for us. And I just think that we might be doing some things out there that aren't getting into these reports like what Burning Glass and Excel and Ed have, because we're not documenting it. So ARS has a specific way of tracking MSGs and credentials, and it's that information that I showed you. It's really, when did it happen? When did you start? And what did you do? So as long as we adhere to making sure we're tracking it and we're pushing people in the right direction, I think that we could show that we're spending the money that they give us extremely wisely and helping people.
If everyone could write their name and where they're from, because I tried to click on everybody that I didn't know, they didn't have their full name on there, but I don't know if I got everybody. Make sure you put your name, yeah, and then where you work. Thank you.
Christy, I have a question. Okay, and it's the measurable skill gains. Kyle and I were really freaking out about measurable skill gains.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, since right now special ed has got, our special ed students we have as clients, but special ed and their IEPs have to do transition goals, for employment, in their IEPs. Can we use that as an MSG at the end of the year?
I'm afraid not. It's very limited, and I'm going to go back to those 5 different types of MSGs that we can do. It has to be connected to the actual transcript or report card classes that they're in. Sorry, I'm going I think I passed it up. So here we go. Oh, I'm closing in 57 seconds. The short answer is no. I'm sorry about that. But any classes that they take that could lead towards the high school diploma could count as a measurable skills gain, as long as they get at least 12 in the year.
Okay.
I think we got 37 seconds, y'all. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed it. And if you have other questions or comments or things that you want, email Ms. Cassandra, email me, and we'll see what we can do.
Thank you, everybody. And I'm typing my email in here. Oops. Just a Chris. Oops.
Okay.
Oh, why are we recording? Stop it. Any final thoughts, because your conference day is over? Christina?
Thank you guys. It's
Awesome.
been very successful. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate you guys participating and being here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Our presenters were amazing. Definitely want to hear your guys' feedback. Keep in mind you're going to be sent that link to fill out for the survey. Give us your constructive criticism. Let us know if you want to do this again in the future. Your board is here to work for you guys. So please go on our website, check out the contact, let us know what we can do to be of service to you guys and what we can do to offer you guys some benefits. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
I also, one other thing too, we do have Miranda Ray is our president-elect. She'll be taking full reins in May of next year at conference. She is doing a student committee. So if you have any students that are interested in joining the student committee and getting involved, please let them know. Please get them in contact with either myself or Miranda and we'll get them going. Also, on our website, we do have scholarships are open. The ARA awards, the year of the year awards, such as the Employer of the Year, Rehabilitant, Support Staff, and Counselor of the Year, those are open. So please put your nominations in now. We're going to recognize all those individuals in May. One final thought, if you guys know of anyone who passes away that is involved in the field, if you guys could shoot me an email or any one of our board members so we can keep our in memoriam going, that will recognize everyone that has passed in May as well. And I really hope we get to see you guys in person live at conference in May.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Great job, guys. Beautiful.
Oh.